أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله أحمده واستعينه واستهديه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله قولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما فإن خير الحديث حديث كتاب الله وخير الهادي هادي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الدين نصيحة. Dear brothers and sisters, Inna ad-dina nasiha. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said, that the deen is nasiha, advice. And the khutbah is primarily an advice and admonition for the community. And the surah that I picked today, Surah At-Tin, is a very unique surah. It is one of the very first surahs. In fact, it is among the 20 first surahs to be revealed. It was revealed in Mecca. It was revealed at a time when the Muslims were a minority, living in a place where the laws were not conducive to Islam, living in a place that was completely anti-Islam. And this is when this surah was revealed. This surah was revealed to inform the Muslims that the path that they were on was correct. That the path that they were on, though it was not popular, was correct nonetheless. And let's look at what they were, how the situation was in Mecca at that time. Muslims were being taught to be modest in a city that was so immodest that they were actually making their circulations around the Kaaba naked. You think San Francisco is bad? They were naked going around the Kaaba. This is how immodest they were. Injustice. Muslims were being taught to be just, to be fair. At a time in the city that they were living in was so unjust, so unfair, that in the Arabic language there was not even a word for qanun. The word qanun is not an Arabic word. It comes from Greek and Latin, from the Romans, from Canaan, when you canonize a law. It was so unjust and unfair, they didn't even have a word for justice, for fairness. This is at a time when this surah is being revealed to remind the Muslims that the path that you're on is the correct path. It is not a popular path, but it is correct nonetheless. And I found that this surah is so similar to the situation we find ourselves in. We're a minority, in a place where some of the laws are not conducive to the way we want to live. So we need to be reminded that the path that we're on is the right path. Now, Allah begins by swearing. Wat-tin and wa-zaytun. He swears by the fig and He swears by the olive. Anytime Allah begins a surah by swearing by something, He wants us to look at the thing that He's swearing by and see how it references to the thing that He's talking about. So He says, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ, I swear to you by this fig, I swear to you by this olive. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ, I swear to you by the mountain of Sinai. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, I swear to you by the city of Mecca, the city made secure. I swear to you what? I swear to you, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ, that we created man, فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, in the best of designs, in the best of structures. So Allah is swearing by these 4 items right here, that I swear to you by these, that man is created in the best of designs. So the reason why this was done, and you'll hear many interpretations from the scholars on why these 4 things were sworn by. Inshallah, you'll hear one today of why these things were sworn by. These 4 qualities existed in man. When Allah said this thing, He wanted us to have an intellectual and a spiritual justification for having love for what we were believing in. And there was an important reason for that. See, when they went to Medina, you didn't have a choice. You had to follow Islamic law. You didn't have a choice. You were no longer the minority. You were no longer out of the mainstream. Islam was the mainstream in Medina. Islam was the law in Medina. In fact, if you didn't practice Islam, you were the stranger. But in Mecca, it was opposite. And because it was opposite, people had to start practicing Islam out of love. And not just love, but an intellectual love. That yes, I believe in this thing. I believe in this thing because look at the miracles of what it is saying to me. I'm following this thing because I want to follow it, not because the police are making me pray, but because I want to pray. And why do I want to pray? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do that? I'm doing it out of love, and that love came from having an intellectual and spiritual connection with Allah. And it was developed by, in the early days, it was developed by the wisdom that Allah put in these verses. Wat-teen, by the fig. Allah swears by the fig. Why the fig? The fig is a soft, very sweet, very, very impressionable and weak fruit. Anyone that has ever had a fig tree or been by a fig tree will tell you that it is the one fruit that bugs love to eat, and they eat it really fast. We had a fig tree. We could not keep the ants and the little mites out of them because the fig has an opening at the bottom. It is so hard to take care of a fig tree. It is so weak. After you pull the fig off the tree, they go bad very fast. You have to dry. If you're not going to eat them right away, you have to dry them. I say all that to say that it is a very weak fruit. It's a sweet fruit, but it is weak. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, I created man weak. It is one of the natures that Allah created us in. We're weak. We have no external weapons. Think about that. All the animals, man, they either got big old claws, fangs, strength. We got nothing. We're the one creature that cannot camouflage itself, that has no weapons. The only weapon that Allah gave us was our intellect. That's it. He gave us no other weapons. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, He created us weak. And in that weakness also, He made us sweet. It is a sweetness. When you're weak, you have no choice but to love. And this love and this muhabbah, this is something from Allah. That is one nature of man that Allah created us in. وَالزَّيْتُونَ, another character of man. And what is the difference between teen and zaytun? It's the exact opposite. وَالزَّيْتُونَ is not a sweet, the olive is not a sweet fruit. It's bitter. You can't do nothing with the olive until you process the olive. But look at what happens when you process the olive. Let that olive ripen. Let it attain some old age. Then you pluck that olive. Then you press that olive. You press that olive You extract this oil out of this olive, then you heat that oil, and that oil becomes the most beautiful light. That is a nature that Allah put in man. Let you attain some age. Let some wisdom get up under you. Put some hardship on you. And if you can withstand my hardship, and if you can withstand this ilm, and you can come out of there, man, and be a light. Just last week, the brother was talking about Yunus. He only became that light after he withstood that spiritual restriction in that belly of that whale and prayed to Allah, oh Allah, if you ever lift this up off of me. How many times have we said that? Oh Allah, lift this up off of me and I will do everything you desire from me. And there's a spiritual exercise called qabd and bast. Spiritual restriction, spiritual expansion. And the understanding of that is that you only experience a spiritual expansion after you've gone through spiritual restriction. If you've never gone through spiritual restriction, you've never been plucked off that tree, you've never been pressed, you've never been heated, how are you going to turn into olive oil? You will never turn into olive oil. You have to go through hardships to enjoy Allah's favors. The Mashayikh teach us that Shaitan, one of his biggest problems was that he worshipped Allah from the beginning. He has done more worship of Allah than all creatures put together. There's not a place on earth that Shaitan did not bow and prostrate to Allah. He had so much spiritual expansion that he was teaching the angels. But he never had hardship. Never saw hardship. Because he never had that spiritual restriction of qabd. He was never pressed. He could never become that light. And as soon as Allah tested him and said, I want you to bow down to this lowly creature that I created weak, out of mud, I want you to bow down to this creature. He says, I can't do that, man. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Why couldn't he do that? He had never been pressed. He didn't know hardship. He didn't know what it was like. That is a nature that Allah put in us. And He puts us through hardship so we appreciate His bounty. So He made us weak so we can be soft when time comes for softness. Can't always be hard. Sometimes you have to be soft. He created us like the olive, so when He presses us, we appreciate and we become beacons of light. Waturi Sinin, the mountain of olive, the mountain of Sinai. That is a nature that Allah put in us too, the mountain. What is symbolic of the mountain? Firm. Firm, will not move. He made us to where when the truth comes, we stand firm. So much so that He says if the truth is even against yourselves, we stand firm. So what if it's against me? So what if it incriminates me? I stand firm on this truth. Allah put that nature in us. He didn't make us to where we're always weak. He made us to where we have to be firm. Allah makes us firm. And we pray on that. There's a dua. Thabit aqdamana. It's in Surah Baqarah when they were going to see the armies of Jalut and they were such a small little number. Thabit aqdamana. Make our feet firm. It was a nature that Allah put in us. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. And by this city that I have made Amin, that I have made secure. That is another nature of man. What is symbolic of Mecca? It is where all people come together as one. This is a nature of man. We're not loners. We believe in the collective. Allah did not create us to run off to the hills and be by ourselves. Allah put something in us. He put a muhabba in us. فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبُكُمْ. Put your hearts together. That is something that Allah put in us. He didn't put us to be loners. Like the lion, I just want to have my little pride and go off to the hill and not be bothered by somebody. He put in us where we want to be around people. We love to be around people. This is something that Allah put in us. These are the four natures that Allah put in us. He made us soft when we have to be soft. He made us firm when we have to be firm. He made us to where if you press us with restrictions and with hardship, and we withstand those and remember Him, that we will shine as a result of that. And He also made it to where we love to be around people. We love to be around each other, and we love to come together for one cause. That is a nature that Allah put in us. And He swears by all four of these natures, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ, that surely, when you say laqad, you're like, man, this is it. This is it. There's no other. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. And even look at the word that He chose. For He chose taqweem. Comes from qiyam, to stand. There's other words that Allah could have put for, I created you in the best design. There were other words for design. There were other words for mold. But He chose taqweem, from qiyam. And the actual definition is, created you in the best stature. In the best stature. So much so that the surah preceding this, one of the surahs preceding this, Allah reminded us that, Ya ayyuhal mudaththir, oh you sitting on the ground, wrapped up in a cloak, qum, stand up, qum fa'anzir, stand up and warn the people. So much so that in Arabic the word for man is ar-rijal. Ar-rijal, legs. That's why when He says, taqweem, ahsanu taqweem, created you in the best of designs, He even reinforced that by using a word that stood for standing up. Look at the wisdom in this. Look at the wisdom in this. So when the Sahaba heard this, I mean, they were shaking with this, like, oh my God, look at the wisdom in this. There were no laws, none. In Mecca, no laws. But they chose to be modest. They chose to be fair. They chose to be just, in spite of laws, because they wanted to be. And what made them want to be? These words. It hit them. Allah says, I created you in the best of designs, like this. And then He says, I perfected this religion for you. And when the perfect religion fit, it fit beautifully right into that design that Allah created. The only time that perfect religion does not fit into this design is when one of those things is missing in this design. When we're not living up to one of those things in that design, when we're not being soft to our families, to our friends, to our brothers, when we're being too firm, or when we're not being firm enough when it needs to be. When instead of trying to rally for all of us together, we want our own and be separated from everybody. Or when we're being pressed so Allah can extract that olive oil from us, that we resent the pressure. Oh Allah, why are you putting this on me? Why? Allah is putting that in you because that is a part of you. It's a part of us. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. This is the design that Allah created us. As long as we live up to this design, Allah's religion, which He promises, which He says, I perfected this religion, it fits right in. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. He reinforces this notion by saying that if you don't follow this, I will debase you. This is what He says. I will debase you. I will make you asfala safilin, the lowest of the lows. Not just low, but the lowest of the lows. You want to be a freak? He'll make you act all the way. Go to San Francisco, see what happens. They refused the nature that Allah created them in. Look, you want to be a bad guy? He'll put you not just in prison, He'll put you underneath the prison. Yeah, there's a place called Pelican Bay. It's actually underground. He'll put you underneath the prison. You want to be a bad guy. You don't want to follow the nature that Allah created us in? This is what Allah does to us. Asfala safilin. The worst of the worst. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, except for those who believe in good deeds. فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ. And these two words, آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, believe and do good deeds. These two words are repeated all throughout the Quran, and especially in the first surahs. In the period of Mecca, you will see these words repeated so often, because there were no laws. Because the laws that existed were not conducive to Islam. So the Muslims practiced Islam because they wanted to. They believed, they did good deeds, and Allah kept rewarding them for that. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. And he ends it, look at the beautiful words he ends it with. Is not your Lord أَحْكَمَ الْحَاكِمِينَ, the wisest of the judges? He gives this beautiful analogy of our nature. And then he leaves it on us to follow that nature. He just simply tells us, I created you in this beautiful nature, and if you follow this beautiful nature, I will reward you. If you don't follow this nature, I will destroy you. Just like he did in their lifetime to those people that they were fighting against, who went against this nature. Allah destroyed them. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد وعلى أهله وأصحابه أجمعين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. قيموا الصلاة. يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. فإن خير الحديث حديث كتاب الله وخير الهادي هادي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله أحمده واستعينه واستهديه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله قولوا قولا سديدا والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الدين نصيحة. Dear brothers and sisters, إن الدين نصيحة. This is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that the deen is nasiha, advice, and the khutbah is primarily an advice and admonition for the community. And the surah that I picked today, Surah At-Tin, is a very unique surah. It is one of the very first surahs. In fact, it is among the 21st surahs to be revealed. It was revealed in Mecca It was revealed at a time when the Muslims were a minority, living in a place where the laws were not conducive to Islam, living in a place that was completely